Today we're going to be building a sheet metal part that looks something like this. We're going to learn how to create the part itself, how to bend the different pieces back, and we'll also learn how to create drawings of the 3D image and of the actual flat panel design as well. So if you wanted to actually create this, we could grab a little bit of tin and chop this thing up. The process is a little bit different than what we have done before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here to New, and I need to create essentially a new part. But this one's a little bit weird. If I go to New, I don't want to create a standard part. I actually want to create a sheet metal part because that will unlock a few extra things that we can play around with. So let's go ahead and start a sketch. And I'm going to create my sketch on the XY plane right here. And we're going to start off nice and simple. We're just going to create the basic part of the piece. So I'm going to grab my center rectangle, my 2-point center right here, and I'm going to lock it onto the origin point, and I'm going to type in, let's go 5 inches by 3 inches. So I'm going to go 5, tab, 3, enter, and then I'm going to pull out my ISO view so I can see what's going on. Cool, easy peasy. Now, instead of extruding this piece, we're going to keep it as a chunk of sheet metal. So I'm going to click here on face, which is telling me that this is the face or like the base part of my design. I can change the direction of that piece, doesn't really matter. I'm just going to hit OK, and it's going to give us a nice three-dimensional piece of sheet metal that we can play around with. So we've got the basic part of the sheet metal. What we're going to do is we're going to add on pieces and bend them to different amounts. And the way we're going to do that is with flange. So if you look up here by face, flange is essentially making a bend that ends up being straight. Contour is a bend that makes some little wavies afterwards. So we're just going to keep it nice and simple. I'm going to click on flange right there. There's a lot of junk we can deal with. I'm going to click on this part of my face, and you'll see that there is a little preview right there that shows you what's going on. I want to keep that 5 by 3, so I'm going to change my bend position to bend from the adjacent face, and notice how it kind of shifts out to the outside, so I maintain my 5 inches in that width right there. I'm also going to change. Let's change this piece to 2 inches. Notice it lengthens up right there. And flange angle, let's keep it at 90 degrees. That's perfectly fine. Or actually, you know what? Let's change it to 60 degrees. I lied. 60. And then bring that thing out just a little bit. And we're going to click OK. Sweet. We've got our first piece. Let's do the same thing for the top edge. So I'm going to click on flange again. I'm going to click on that line, and we see there's the bend. My bend position looks good. We'll keep it at 2, but let's change our flange angle to 90 degrees so we get that nice little right angle, and hit OK. Sweet. And let's have one that kind of bends back the other way, 90 degrees. So let's click flange one last time. I'm going to click on kind of the far back side. Keep that 2 inches, keep that 90, and then we are good to go. All right, there's our piece. Might be a good idea to save this thing too. Make sure it's in your Z drive. Since I've already done one for practice, I'm going to call it Sheet Metal Tutorial. I'm going to call it 2 because obviously I've got another one there. Cool, not too shabby. So where we go from here, some cool things that we can mess around with is we can create a flat pattern from this. So if you wanted to actually develop this or like cut this out and then bend it on a brake pan, it will allow you to kind of figure out what order you want to bend it in. So if you click on bend order, it's going to tell us that we want to bend this guy first, then this guy second, then this guy third. Which is kind of handy. It doesn't work out every single time, but it's kind of nice if you're actually building these pieces. And we're going to go to the folded part. We're just going to go back to what we've created. So now let's start our drawing. We've got our full-blown piece. Let's get into it. What you need to do is you need to open up your template, and you need to save it as, let's say, again, sheet metal tutorial. So that you don't save over the file that was your original template. Now, since I'm a bum, I'm just going to go right up to new and do drawing. But again, you should use your template that has the stuff that you developed. And it's going to look similar to what we've done in the past. I'm going to click on base. And I'm going to make sure that my sheet metal tutorial is selected. And you see it's got the 3D model right there. I actually don't want that for my first sheet. I'm going to go to flat pattern because this is going to be more useful to someone that's actually building this thing. So let's bump up our scale. Let's go 2:1 and then drag it kind of like here-ish. So we got some space for dimensions. Okay, not too shabby. Let's do some basic dimensions right here. So I'm going to go dimension. Let's see. We probably want from here to that first little bend. I'm going to pull it up until it's a dotted line so it locks into that spot. Shut up. We're going to do the same thing from here all the way out here. Next dotted line. Shut up. And then we're going to go all the way to the far edge. Cool. Let's do the same thing for this bottom part. I want to go from here. Actually, let's go to this edge right there. And we'll pull it out till it kind of locks in. And say, okay, I'm going to click on this guy and this guy and do kind of the same thing. Perfect. All right, nice and painless. So let's make another sheet and we'll do our 3D model there. So let's go back to base. They've already got my folded model, which is good. And let's pump out our, actually let's pull this up just a little bit. Let's pump out our side view, our top view, and our isometric view. Those look fine. I'm going to double click on that red box and make sure I can see my shaded view right there. Beautiful. And we're going to do kind of the same thing. We're just going to dimension some important parts. Now we'll go through how to properly dimension stuff like this, but for right now, we'll just do something like, we probably want this guy right here, 1.76. Okay, maybe let's pull the angle from here to here, and we made that 60 degrees. Let's make sure that looks okay. 120. Cool. So it's measuring from, we measured from here to here, which would be 60 degrees. That's good to go. Let's just get like this big old guy. Most of our information really should just come from that flat panel, but we could put some extra goodies in there too. Let's grab this guy as well. Okay. Let's grab this one. And notice when we pull out those dimensions, we get kind of a dotted line. We always, always, always want to be in that spot. Okay. Cool. And then we got it. So if I need to check it out, I'm going to hit escape so I can go back to my flat panel. I can go to my dimensions and we are good to go. So you can use the same process for our introductory problems, and then we will get to some more advanced versions of sheet metal bending later on. Good luck.